let's get to Amon-Ra. We'll play the video. This is him on Jared. He had a quote here. He said, he's worth every dollar that he gets. And I can't wait for him to be a part of the future for a long time. So let's play that clip. Him talking about his quarterback here. So here's Amon-Ra, RG3's pod, talking about Jared Goff. Let me make sure the volume's up. All right.
In your mind, Jared Goff is worth 45, 50, 55 million per year as a starting quarterback?
I mean, for me, first of all, I mean, I think as his receiver, I mean, he does things out in the field that, you know, I'm used to it because I've only played with him my whole career. I've been lucky enough to have one quarterback. But he's, you know, accurate, commands the offense, all the stuff you want in a quarterback. But then you look at the Detroit Lions history. I mean, when's the last time we weren't, you know, this deep in the playoffs, won this many games? When we first got there, like I said, we only won 3 games. So to see what he's done with this Detroit football team from, you know, 2 years ago or 3 years ago to now, he's winning games. I think winning is a big part of this, you know, of this sport, especially for a quarterback. So that's what he's doing. He's winning games. And you go look at his stats too. They're up there with some of the best quarterbacks in the league. So he's worth every dollar that he gets. And I can't wait for him, you know, for him to get paid and be a part of this future for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about in your mind.
Well, hey,
people are mad to hear it. People are mad to hear it, Jeff. People are mad to hear it.
Why am I mad to hear it?
The Hooker stands are
Hooker time, baby.
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. I don't like the pick a side thing. I hate that.
You tell me all the time, Booner, don't be in the middle. Pick a side. That's Jeff. You've been teaching me a little bit over the last year.
Booner,
he gave you that.
Booner.
He wasn't having that.
Booner,
he was not having that.
I think Jeff's getting red. This is one of those moments. I'll take a step back for you.
I think it's
Jeff.
just no. What I say to you is, Booner, you can't always be in the middle. All right, I've learned that over my career as well. You have to just be. I don't know what the right word is for it. Say it with conviction. And Neil always used to come at me for that. Even though when he would bring up things, I would be in with I'd say things with conviction. He'd kind of troll me a little bit. But regardless, on this, I think you would agree, Booner, because I could say, well, I would assume you don't think Hendon Hooker is anything then, if you like Jared Goff.
No, I don't. Excuse me. It's not that I don't think Hendon Hooker is not anything.
Okay.
It's no. What it is I'm all in on Jared Goff. To where it's Hendon Hooker could end up being a great quarterback, but guess what? We already have our quarterback. Then I'll stand on that. We have the guy that can go win a Super Bowl with, and I'll stand on business, as the kids say these days. I'll stand on it.
These days.
I mean, it's just it's a crazy thing, and I put this in my notes for today, and I want to make sure I don't say anything bad here to disrespect anyone like you, Jeff, or whoever loves Hendon Hooker, but it's the weirdest thing to me when I watched this interview. I don't know if you guys watched the whole thing. The people inside of NFL circles, like Amon-Ra St. Brown and RG3, for an example, and as this example, they love Jared Goff. They give him all the respect, and they literally give him his flowers and his props. Every single person within the NFL circles, you probably can go in any locker room anywhere, they high praise on Jared Goff. But it's just something about people like us, average people that aren't in the NFL circles, that talk sports every day, that feel they have to have this need to be like, well, maybe there's always the other side of it. When everyone in the NFL, RG3 said it in this show, loves to just say, I love Jared Goff. I'm all in on Jared Goff. He deserves his flowers. People don't give him enough credit. And then there's just average people who just want to sit there and just go, oh, well, Jared Goff, you never know, man. We might have Hendon Hooker. We might be able to move on from him. But it's like everyone in the NFL is like, no, Jared Goff is a franchise guy. You want him on your team. And like Amon-Ra said there, he wins football games. Jeff, he has the second, or I think it's the second, the third most wins out of any quarterback in the NFL in the last 2 seasons. The third most. He has the second most passing yards out of all quarterbacks in the NFL the last 2 seasons. He has the 4th most passing touchdowns out of all quarterbacks the last 2 seasons. Now, I get when you start talking money and contracts and this, I get that's part of it. But when you have a guy that's winning football games, you pay him, and then you find a way to keep doing it. You don't just say, let's just move on. Why not? It just seems like it's only fans, and it's only just like guys like us who are just, oh, well, I don't know about Jared Goff. And everyone in NFL circles like RG3, like dudes that know like have been in the NFL, they give him all of the flowers that he deserves. I don't know, dude. It's something.
I just
grinds
playing
my
like
gears a little
devil's
bit.
advocate with the Booner. I think sometimes, because you're absolutely correct, Jared Goff statistically he's up there with all of them. But because I do it sometimes, definitely just because I think Goff with those numbers, he sometimes gets like pushed into the tier of like the elite guys in the league. But when you look at his statistics, absolutely, I'm happy that he's doing it. But are there other quarterbacks around the league that could put up similar numbers in the situation that he's been given? I think so. So that's where I don't think people are like not happy that Jared Goff's the quarterback, but I think Jared Goff, sometimes certain Lions fans will act like he is the guy in the NFL sometimes when he goes out and throws 300 yards a week. It's like Jared Goff is a good quarterback, but when you talk about mortgaging the whole future, some people will push back just because they know that he's not the elite guy that they necessarily want for the team.
Klotzy,
That's just where
I get what you're
from.
saying. I get what you're saying, but I think there's guys around the NFL that can put numbers up, but at the same time can't win football games. That's a fact.
Very true.
Dak Prescott, he puts regular season numbers up all the time. Guess what? They don't win. And he's not like Jared Goff in 2 years has more wins in Detroit than he has the last 2 years in Dallas. So yeah, I get what you're saying, and I don't think you're mortgaging your future, even for $50 million. They're about to give Dak Prescott $60 million, and he hasn't won anything. Why wouldn't you give Jared Goff 50 for if he has won something?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Like I would think like he puts there.
I would understand if you're like, well, he puts those numbers up like elite quarterbacks. He's up there in the top 3 with all of these the last 2 years, and he's putting the numbers up with the elite quarterbacks. I would get if you said that, and then you're like, well, he's putting numbers up, but he's just not winning games. Why would we pay him? He's doing both. He's literally the only thing you want in football is to win football games. He's doing that, and he's putting the elite numbers up. So there's no like, to me, it's where does that fall in line? And that's why I think it's kind of interesting to see a guy like RG3. So like if you watch the whole interview, like every time they talked about Jared Goff, he just kept saying like he mentioned about how people called him and I think I don't think we clipped it, but talked about him being a system quarterback. And RG3 said, I've been on ESPN and everywhere fighting saying that he's not a system quarterback because he puts numbers up and he wins football games. So there's guys out there who are locked in, and smart brains.
You go, Mike. I'll go last.
No, I agree.
Jeff's ready to just kill it all.
Yeah,
No.
I've been saying it since week 1. I have no problem extending Jared Goff. He's a leader of that locker room. He kind of is the guy that makes it blow. And for St. Brown to say that, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Their chemistry last year just went over the top, and it's only going to get better from here. So I've been saying it 3 years, $49 million. That is my number, and I'm all for it. Bring Goff back.
So I just want to make this very, very clear. Once again, I've been a fan of Hendon Hooker since he was at Tennessee his last season. Obviously, I didn't know Hendon, but I'm not gonna act like I've been watching him even before then. But I love college football, Booner, and while we were working at our former employer, we did the college football show. So I got to kind of cover him a little bit, and I fell in love with Hendon Hooker after he went down. I wasn't sure of his draft stock, but I like Hendon. But I'm also not an idiot. All right. I want to make that. I think when you say things like people just want to dump Jared Goff, I don't think you should do that. I think that'd be stupid. And I don't think Brad would do that. You have to extend Jared Goff. Absolutely. You have to extend Jared Goff. I've never once said don't extend Jared Goff. I have had discussions about the amount, which before all the reports, I'm like, I'm curious what he does here. Is he going to take a discount? How much is he going to get paid? 45 to 50 is not bad at all. That's fine. I mean, looking at how a quarterback, because you just mentioned Dak, that's where I was going with. It's a great point. Like Dak's going to get 60. You think Jared Goff's $10 million worse? No, he's better. And you're paying him $10 million less? Yeah, sign me up. I think I'm more interested in the years. From all the talk, it'll probably be a long-term deal, but I would like the opportunity to keep it flexible. So if it's like a 2 to 3 year deal, at least you get to find out what you have in Hendon Hooker this year. That's all I've been saying. I want to know what they have in Hendon Hooker. I don't think it's fair to write Hendon off before we even see him in a game, based on what we saw in college. That's all my point was. About
I don't
Hendon
think
Hooker.
though, Jeff, it's like writing off, just moving with Goff. I think it's, hey, we already have a guy. We're not going to write you off. Like we get it. You might be a dude, but we have our leader. We have our leader.
Yeah.
He's a leader within the organization. It's not like you're just dropping a a second string, like, or just a linebacker, or CJ Gardner-Johnson, who was here for a year. It's Jared Goff, who's been a part of winning 3 games and building it up side by side with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. It's been those guys. So it's just be like, oh, done. Hendon Hooker's that good. I think there's, and a lot of people want to bring up this Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes situation. It's so different than that.
I haven't brought that up. I want to make that
I know,
very
but I hear that, and I know you've heard it, and we've seen people like that, and it's just so different. It's so different to me.
Yes,
it's a complete night and day difference.
I think that is the most overused example.
Yes.
Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes. That is such an anomaly, because Patrick Mahomes, there's no quarterback ever to be like Mahomes. So that's not fair. Even Caleb, I wouldn't say he's the next Patrick Mahomes. I think that's a stupid thing to say. But where I was going with it is this, right? Jared Goff, you nailed it, Booner. I didn't disagree with anything you said. When I mean write Hendon off, I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about a specific section of the Lions fan base where they're like, dude's a career backup. Based on what exactly? Like, what information do we have that would indicate he's a career backup or he's not good? We don't know. We know he has the tools. We know he has I think the leadership I really, really like. I just think he checks a lot of boxes. Now, let's see. You're going to get to see him in the preseason. You're going to hear about him because, trust me, local media will be talking about Hendon Hooker. It's going to be a point of conversation. Just in general, people want to see how he's doing. It's not about really replace Jared this year. But it's just like, hey, how's he looking? How's he looking at, going against the ones? What's going on with Hendon Hooker? You'll find out more. That's what I just want to be open-minded, continue to be open-minded about the possibility that they have something in Hendon Hooker. That's all my point really ever was. Now, if you want to say stand on that side, it's like, okay, but am I supposed to be like, nah, dude,
I mean,
they got nothing. I like him, and I do think they have something in him,
Jeff.
But I can still respect Jared and understand that this is his team and that he's going to get an extension. It doesn't make sense. You just made an NFC championship with him. Why wouldn't you keep him around? Like, that's never my argument. But you want to keep things a little flexible just in case you do strike gold, which, again, Brad Holmes tends to do that in the draft for some reason. It's weird. So,
okay, and I hate that too. You know what? Now that you said that, we can have this conversation because you did this as well when you made your Hendon Hooker video a couple weeks back. Let's not sit here and say, oh, well, we drafted Hendon Hooker. And then the people that go, oh, so do you trust Brad Holmes? He picked Hendon Hooker. Shut up. No, shut up.
Why is that shut up?
That's not a trust Brad Holmes thing. That is
you're gatekeeping Brad Holmes, basically.
No, there's no gatekeeping. He might have picked a great quarterback. That might have happened. But don't use that as an excuse to where, oh, you don't think Hendon Hooker should start? You're a Jared Goff guy? Oh, so you don't trust Brad Holmes in his drafting. That is the worst. That is the worst
I'm not
thing
saying
of all
that,
time to use that as an argument. That is the worst thing of all time to use that. He drafted Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike, Hendon Hooker.
So you're saying
I'm not saying Hendon's going to be like that, but I'm just saying there are going to be misses. I'm not even saying Hendon Hooker's going to be a miss. You have a quarterback. You have a quarterback. It might not arise to where Hendon Hooker has an opportunity because you have a franchise guy already.
Yes.
Doesn't mean at all Brad is a bad drafter. So when people say that to me, move on. I don't want to hear that. That's the worst thing to say of all time in that position.
It's really not.
It is.
It depends.
We all trust Brad.
Booner.
You're just saying because we have a quarterback and we like Jared Goff and we just went to an NFC championship game with him. You're insinuating, oh, you want Jared Goff, you like him. Oh, so you don't trust Brad Holmes because he drafted a quarterback. No, that's the farthest thing off from it. Come on, Jeff. You're better than that, Jeffrey.
I just said I didn't say that.
You're better than that.
What? All I said was Booner, he tends to strike gold, so I'm intrigued. What's wrong with that? I didn't say Booner, just because you like Jared, you must not trust Brad. I never said that. All I said was the reason why I'm excited is because
I need
Brad
to do some homework over here.
Lucas, someone else. I mean, please. Am I crazy for saying that? I don't understand.
The whole reason I'm intrigued with Hendon is, and this is a very hypothetical situation, that this is more of a thought exercise, Boone. When I get so intrigued with Hendon,
dumb
Just-
thought exercise.
But this,
No
but this
offense,
is
that's not towards you. It's
you,
just,
you don't even know what it's about to be.
He didn't even
oh,
say
I
a
thought
thought.
you were talking about the Hendon Hooker whole thing was
No. This is
Exercise.
this is what I'm about to say, and why I'm very intrigued. To Jeff's point, I would rather prefer Jared Goff on a shorter contract versus a long-term contract. Let's say the Lions are drafting top 5. Jared Goff is out, but they have the same roster. Let's say Jared Goff got hurt, end of contract, he's out of here. Hendon Hooker's healthy and he's in this draft class. I think Hendon Hooker would be, if he was healthy, a top 5 pick in this draft class. If you insert him into this Detroit Lions roster, I think that would be one of those situations where it's like, it really doesn't matter what rookie quarterback goes there, they're going to succeed. In my opinion, I think it would be a better situation than the Chicago Bears. So when you look at that and you look around the teams that have moved on to other quarterbacks, the Jalen Hurts of the world, what do they have? Good offensive line, good wide receivers, and a good run defense. The Detroit Lions have that. So I think when you look at the receivers that are going to be around them, they're going to keep adding them. Hendon Hooker, he's a first-round type of quarterback, and he's in a situation which first-round type of quarterbacks were to succeed. He has the talent to elevate this offense. So I don't think it's so that's why it's just like people that want to move on to Hendon, it might be a little ignorant in the moment, yes, but long-term, I don't think it is.
I just think there's this thing to where we finally we won, and now people are starting to get a little what's the
Full
saying?
of themselves.
Not full of themselves, like a little too rich for the money, or what is that thing where you
Ahead of
start getting
themselves.
ahead of themselves? So you're starting to get winning, and you're experiencing this, and you're like, oh, I want more. I see Patrick Mahomes. I see this. I see that. I want more. I want
Which
more.
is fair.
And then when you go to the other side and you start reaching for things and I want this, I want that. Then all of a sudden you get in a position. Okay, what happens if you don't extend Jared Goff? Is a lot of people don't want to. It's crazy. They're like, let's play out this year. Imagine if you did that. Jared Goff gets hurt. You can't re-sign him. Hendon Hooker goes in, isn't like Jared Goff, and you start losing football games because he hasn't played football in 2 seasons. And you're like, oh no, Brad Holmes, he missed on the pick. He did that. And then now we're in this side, and then I have to sit over here and I have to say, oh, you know what? I told you guys so. And I hate to do that.
I hate to do, you'd love to do that, Booner.
I do.
You would
The
love
Booner
to.
Path, the Booner Path is about winning Super Bowls. It's about going to the NFC
Yes.
Championship game. It's about winning football games. It's not about winning and then just going, I need this. No, we're smart. We're strategic. We're very, very, we're very smart about the moves that we make over here. And this is one that we've thought about.
I think if I'm just saying this because it's just my insight, because I'm your friend, I think your problem may not be with me and Lucas. I think your problem is with some other Lions fans, and you're kind of.
I didn't say you guys specifically either. I just said I'm
Okay.
this.
All right.
You can watch it back. I'm tired of hearing this. I'm tired of hearing that. Like the Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes thing. I'm tired of hearing that.
Which
just certain things.
is fair. Mahomes does not grow on trees, in case anyone didn't know. I just see the mobility. I see the arm. I see what the pedigree, and I'm intrigued and I'm excited because you're going to find out this year.
So a lot of people I'm
After
intrigued
watching
about
Jordan Love.
and I can't see.
Watch Jordan Love.
Booner, I'm
See
all
how-
for. I'm a Goff guy. I want him for the next 3 years, and it would make no sense to get rid of him. But are you not at least a little bit intrigued of the different looks that Hendon Hooker could possibly give the Lions in the future? Like even seeing that in preseason, like you're not intrigued at all. It doesn't mean like throw him out there day one, get Goff out of here, trade him away. But like you can be intrigued about like the future with a young prospect like him. Like you don't know anything right now.
Let's do an exercise. I'll throw this on you guys. Okay, just a little exercise, just a hypothetical. It's just like it's just something me and Adam have talked about. I don't think I've ever brought this to you guys. I'm just curious. Okay, look at the NFC North. All right. Where would Jared Goff rank right now in the NFC North, Booner, to you and to everyone? You put him 1?
1.
Right now, 1, but I think he finishes the season 2.
1.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's
What
1
about you,
for-
Mike?
He's 1 for now.
For now. So so what I'm hearing is you think Jordan Love is going to continue to elevate potentially past him.
think
And
so.
just
Possibly.
Doesn't mean
You gotta
that
win
He had a
football
really
games.
good season. I mean, he still has to go out there and replicate that. But yeah,
Right.
Winning as well.
Yeah, which
That's
is
the
true,
most
which is
important
fair,
thing.
right? I get that. But here's the other thing, right? Look at the NFC North. Let's say Jordan Love he's going to continue to get better. I know guys go up and down, but his hell of a first year starting, so you only can assume, right? Let's say Caleb Williams is who the Bears think he is. And he's not Mahomes. I don't think he'll be Mahomes. I think that's like an overrated thing to say. But let's say Caleb comes out and he's pretty good. and he continues to get even better. And the Bears finally have their first 4,000-yard passer, which is crazy. They've never had one. So he continues to get better. What are the Vikings going to do? What if they get your guy, JJ, right? Your guy, JJ. Now, what do you think about JJ? Is JJ going to – we're – now, look in the next – let's go
Hold on, Boone. Let him finish, Boone. Let him finish, Boone.
Let him cook. He's cooking.
3 years from now, are we having this conversation differently? Where you're thinking, do we have the third best quarterback now?
Jeff. Let me sit you down real quick. Let me sit you down and let's have this conversation real quick. Do you know how you fix that situation if you want to keep winning football games? I've got a very, very easy solution. Are you ready for this? This is crazy.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Crazy. Put a top 10 defense on the football field. Whoa. You just had a top 5 offense for back-to-back years. In the whole NFL, you had a top 5 offense in the NFL for the last 2 seasons with Jared Goff. You keep that, and if their quarterbacks, they have Caleb Williams, and he becomes great. They draft JJ. He becomes great. Give us a good defense and continue to be a top 5 offense, and you're going to keep winning the division. You're going to keep winning football games, and you're going to keep competing for a Super Bowl. That's what it comes down to.
You know what help does that, Booner? Take a wide receiver 29th overall, so you don't got to.
Maybe that's it. Maybe, but to me, it's like, okay, we're comparing quarterbacks. Oh well, what this, and I get Adam just put in there. You're paying him $50 million. $50 million is going to be a mid-level quarterback contract in 2 years. If you sign him, that's going to be he's going to probably be like the 12th highest quarterback in the NFL in 2 seasons at $50 million a year. Dak Prescott's about to get 60.
Do you think Goff will still be playing at the level that he is right now, though?
Yes, he's 28 years old. 29.
Yes.
He's very young.
I want to make sure I get this clear. I wasn't doing that to do like a gotcha. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I just thought that was
I think that's a smart thing because there's going to be good quarterbacks. But I don't think just because they have good quarterbacks means like, oh, just because you have the second best quarterback in your division, he's still going to be top 10 in the NFL, top 12 in the NFL. You're still going to have a really good quarterback. Now, it just means you're going to have to go up against another really good quarterback every year, twice a year. Mm-hmm. And guess what? That's where your defense has to come in, and Aaron Glenn has to get his stuff together, and they're going to have to put a good defense on the field because you're going to have to help Jared out at some point. And that's where I think that's the biggest deal. And Adam says that all the time. It comes down to the defensive side of the ball. And I think if you keep Jared Goff for the next 3 years, and he's proven to go out there and put top 5 numbers up, win football games. Now it's a question of, can you get a defense behind him to actually continue to win, especially if other teams are getting better. So I think, Jeff, I'm a little with you. I've already said this. I think a 3-year deal is perfect, or even say you do a 4-year deal. I think even a 4-year deal, I'm with you, to where maybe you do an opt-out after year 2 or 3, to where, hey, if something starts going wrong, now we can move on. Or if Hendon Hooker does become better, now we can move on. But I just think it's the people who say, hey, let's wait till after this year to sign him. I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's just unbelievable. It's
even real quick, I want to acknowledge Alan. He just thank you for the $14 super chat there, Alan. We appreciate you. Thank you a lot. Here, Andrew Jones also gifted a Crunch membership early in the show. So Andrew, we appreciate you. Thank you for that as well. And I think even for the people, real quick, I just will say this before we move on, because I do want to get to the other thing with Amon-Ra, because this is a good one too, Boone. This is something that you preach about, and Amon-Ra spoke right into your wheelhouse. But when people say the $50 million thing, I don't think that's egregious money, especially like we've already pointed out where quarterbacks are heading. And even in the next couple of years, like, will it catch up to them? They're going to have to pay, Panay, Aiden, all these guys. Although I lean that way, and I believe there is a ton of value with a rookie quarterback, you could also make the argument now, Boone, with having a guy like Brad, that you can replace certain positions, maybe not your pillars, but there are guys that I do believe are interchangeable because you have such a elite draft evaluator. Like, for example, and I'm not saying to do this, but hypothetically, let's say like Aleem McNeil, you're like, you know what? We can't keep him around. I have trust that Brad would replace him. Kirby Joseph, all love to these guys, but I'm just saying hypothetically, I'm not like, re-sign Kirby or nothing, because you have a guy like Brad who can replace those guys. So you have an argument there, but
with that, that's something we don't really talk about too. How, like, we do have these conversations where Brad does go BPA and how he's like, I just want the best players. I don't care if we already have a player there. That's kind of to that point where in the next 2 years, year or two, we've had the conversations that they're going to have to move on from certain guys. And we've listed like Kirby, Aleem, Amon-Ra, Hutch. Like there's just so many dudes they're going to have to pay. And then you're going to have to move on from some, to where the way that Brad does draft now that we've seen about him saying, hey, I'm just going to get the best player there is and the guys we want on our team instead of doing depth wise or getting fill in the holes. That kind of helps out that scenario too, because that shows he's not scared. Like this year, he's not going to be scared to draft an offensive lineman, even though we have a bunch. And if you have to pay Taylor Decker, he's like, we can move on because we drafted one. Or last year with the running back, instead of paying DeAndre Swift, he got a running back and he said, hey, we can move on from DeAndre Swift. We don't have to pay him a ton of money. Yeah, and then that's just like, it's a TV thing. It's like wide receiver. Hey, if we don't want to pay Josh Reynolds, let's just draft a wide receiver and get him half of the price. And that's where I think his mind as well, and it works to his favor. Just going best player is when you go best player, now like imagine if Jazon Newton falls and he falls and hey, you have to pay Aleem McNeil. Jazon Newton ends up being a dude in the NFL next year. Now you don't have to pay Aleem McNeil and you have Jazon Newton and DJ Reader. So it's just like I think that's another benefit of Brad being Brad and drafting the way he does. So you can keep guys like Jared Goff.
Alan with another super chat here. We appreciate $7. Says, don't forget, if Hooker is the replacement, you'll be saving $45 million a year. That's 2 elite players. You're going to be younger. You're going to be younger than I think he meant than the 49ers. Love you guys. We appreciate you, Alan. Thank you for that.
Appreciate it, Alan.
And we could spend probably all day on just Jared Goff. I mean, this is one of my favorite conversations because we don't sit here and pick a side and argue. We try to look at this from like a 4,000-foot view, realistically.
It's a good conversation.
Even my guy Spencer here, he goes, not another team is in the NFL's giving Goff 50. That's come on. The Bucks would.
Dude, there's a lot of football teams who would take Jared Goff on their team right now.
I think the Bucks would. The Bucks pay Baker. I mean, they save some money, but let's say Baker was like 40 an option.
40, 45.
They would take
maybe even less than that.
They would take.
You know what I'm interested to see, which is a key factor too in this. I think Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. There's rumors of them extending soon. So I wonder if he resigns before Goff and he resigns for like 52. Do you think that would like influence Goff in any way? Just because I think without a doubt, as of right now, I think people could project Trevor Lawrence to be better than Goff, but I don't think there's any hill for you to stand on that Lawrence is better than Goff.
Yeah. By the way, Jeff Olson, real quick, he's a Bucks fan. He just said Bucks would not go. He spoke for me. You know, that's fair.
This is the point and reason why I get mad about the Jared Goff stuff is the disrespect. There's a lot of football teams out there who would pay Jared Goff $50 million to be their quarterback if they're winning football games. That's a fact. Hard fact. Cold hard fact.
Oh, that's gross.
I wouldn't say he's just as good as Goff. Come on, Jeff. Yeah, I know the year he had.
Oh, it's weird. What was the record this year versus Baker? Do you guys remember?
Team game.
They didn't have a run. They didn't have the running back duo or offensive line, but still, he's a better quarterback.
I was just wondering. My bad. I was just wondering. It was a real weird thing.
What would you say, Goff? What would you guys agree? Goff is probably back of top 10, maybe like 7 to 10, maybe like 8.
Yeah, I'd put him like 8, 9.
Where would Baker be? I think Baker's like top 15.
Yeah, I would say 15.
Maybe like 12 to 17, like that range.
12 is too rich, Boone.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the person. I'm sure who was commenting. Who was that? Jeff Olson. I'm sure Jeff Olson would put Baker at 12, but some people would have him at 17. I'm sure some people would have him at 20, all the way back to 20. I wouldn't be shocked.
But yeah, Jeff, that was actually funny. I can't. All right, let's get to and Jeff is correct. They had similar seasons, but seasons don't always,
Did they though?
A similar season.
Statistically, yes, Booner, they did. But
yes,
did they though?
If Jared Goff was playing in the NFC South against those teams,
wait, no, did they though? Jared Goff had the second most passing yards. Baker had like 9 or 10.
Well, I could say Mahomes and Goff had a similar year. So is he Mahomes? No. Like, you don't do that. You can't just do the statistics.
That's why stats drive me nuts. And
it's about a bigger sample size.